Thank you so much for joining me. Today I wanted to do a morning gratitude practice. I think that it is so important. Gratitude in and of itself, and then it's a beautiful way to begin the day with some gratitude and a little bit of movement as well. So I'm going to do just a little bit of a chat about it, and we'll do a little bit of movement. It'll be a simple practice, just a little bit of opening. Simple but potent, yeah. So gratitude is something that we hear about a lot, and we hear about it so much that it almost feels cliche, like gratitude, grateful, be grateful. It feels very kind of simplified. But I want to talk a little bit about why it's so important and how we can make it potent, more potent. Yeah. So there's something called the negativity bias. You may have heard me talk about it before, but there's something called the negativity bias. And it's something that we are ingrained with. We're wired with it through evolution. And the negativity bias is actually a survival mechanism. So for an example, if we eat a berry and it is poisonous and it makes us sick, it's going to go deep into our neural architecture so that we do not do that again. We remember where that berry is. We remember everything about it so that we don't do it again. Yeah. So the negative experience is like hardwired into us. Now, maybe, the next day we find this mango tree and there's this delicious mango up there. And while we'll remember how delicious and how juicy this mango is, it was not going to be stored in our brain at the same depth and intensity as will the location and proximity and remembrance of that berry. Yeah? Because the mango, it's nice, it's good, but it's not going to kill us. It's not going to keep us alive. So that's the negativity bias that we're kind of up against. And it's okay, but it's important to know that we're up against it. So what we can do to counteract that is to have more gratitude. You can also call it soaking in the good or savoring the good. Rick Hansen talks a lot about this. He's a Buddhist and a neuroscientist. And he talks about counteracting the negativity bias and ways that we can do this. And yes, it's gratitude, and yes, it's soaking in the sweetness, but it's also, at the same time, it's rewiring our brain for these things as well. So some ways that we can really hug this in is whenever we experience something that is good, we take an extra breath, we breathe into it, and we allow it to affect us. So instead of just being like, oh yeah, that's nice, and keep going, to really be like, oh, I feel that. Notice where it is in your body. Maybe it's hot or cold, or it's in your chest or in your belly. Like, begin to notice where it is. And what this is that it is, it's integrating it. It's allowing us to more internalize it. And gratitude is a muscle. So when we flex it, it gets stronger. So we're beginning to open up these pathways to see the good in things, glass half full, that kind of thing. And another thing that I think is really helpful is not just looking for these kind of big gratitudes, like I'm grateful for the sunshine. I'm grateful for, of course, we are grateful for the sunshine, but can you make it more specific? I'm grateful for the sunshine. I love the way that it feels on my skin, especially after a long winter when spring comes and it feels like I can ingest it, like my skin is devouring the sun. Like, can you get a little dramatic with it? And can you be specific? I am grateful for my partner, but why? Why are you grateful? And can you bring in some of these nuances? They would love to hear that as well. So these appreciations for people, for experiences in our life, down to the point of like, I am grateful for the color green that I see on that pear, and that pear is so beautiful and they taste so good, and that light green, that color is just so is so pleasing to look at, or whatever it is, to kind of like accentuate it. And this can begin to counteract and kind of build these new pathways so that, yeah, we can see the sweetness throughout the day. And it gets easier and it gets easier to see the silver linings and see the sweetness around us. We are inundated with challenge, especially during these days, with politics and divisiveness and, what side are you on? And now lots of isolation with COVID, all of these really challenging things, and there's always something going on. So how can we counteract that negativity bias and find the sweetness? Yeah. And this doesn't mean that we're ignoring things, but we can hold both. We can be challenged by isolation, and we can find and enjoy some extra space for creativity. We can be living in a time of a lot of divisiveness and challenge in our political sphere, and at the same time, see the beauty of people coming together to make a change. So there's lots of different ways that we can hold. It's not this or, it can be and I think that that's very important as well, especially with more challenging things. So we're not bypassing things, but we are acknowledging them and looking for the sweetness. Yeah. So let's move our body. We can find some appreciation for our body and for this practice as we do all of that. So go ahead and come into your seat. Begin to deepen your breath. Can we have some appreciation for the breath? Like, how sweet is it that we don't have to think about breathing in order to breathe, this thing that keeps us alive, that we don't have to be on constant watch, that our inhales follow our exhales, and on and on and on. And for all the systems in our body, all of our organs that are just doing their thing, and we're not having to micromanage. I know we like to micromanage and control things, but thankfully we're not in charge of all of that. So we can support it, but not having to use our mental capacity. I'm grateful for our body. Let's begin to move. We're going to move the spine in all directions. Take the hands to the knees and we'll start spiraling first. So maybe they start really, really small and then they get bigger. Find a little bit of resistance so you can kind of enunciate it and get into the crooks and crannies even more. So let's talk about, as we move, appreciation for the body. Now, a lot of us, this is a very common challenge area to have gratitude and appreciation. We're fed lots of messages. Women and men, we're fed different messages of, how our body should be, what makes a body worthy, all of these different things. But can we dig underneath that societal messaging and go the other way, if you haven't switched, and be grateful for what it allows us to do? Even when we're injured, even when we have disabilities, there's lots of things that are taken away from us, whether it be due to age or illness or accident. And how can we still find a thank you, even when things are challenging, even when it's not happening the way that we would like it to? Our body's still breathing, our organs are still pumping. And yoga is a beautiful place to practice that. Try not to let it be another place where we can shame ourselves, but to explore our individual body. Take the hands to the knees. We're going to cat-cow. Hands to the knees. Bring the heart forward. Open the heart, throat. Gaze up. And exhale, curl everything in. Breathe out the mouth. Slow, long exhale, chin to chest. Inhale, come forward. Pull the hands at the knees to pull yourself forward. Open up. And exhale. Again, inhale, open. And exhale. And especially when we're waking up in the morning, probably pretty tight, pretty stiff. So a lot of appreciation for this practice in order to open ourselves up. Appreciation to yourself to show up and do this. Like, how long have we lived our lives and like not woke up and given our body some attention? Like, how much juicier is this? Juicier way to wake up. Let's go ahead and twist towards the right. So I'm going to give you an option. You can stay for several rounds of breath, or you can move with breath as you twist to one side or another. So talking about gratitude for this practice, personally, this practice has absolutely transformed my life. And many of you probably know, have heard my story. If you haven't, I have several videos about my story and how I came to yoga, was that I came through a really severe alcoholism and addiction. Oh, this feels so good. And it was one of the biggest tools of my transformation, was my yoga practice. It still is. Definitely my sanity. I find sanity in these four corners of the mat. But it helped to pull me out of a life that was really full of suffering. So when I think about gratitude for this practice, it's like, it's so deep. We're going to go side to side now. And just on that note, most people come to yoga because there's some sort of suffering. Come to yoga and meditation. Ram Dass used to say, this really wise teacher, just recently passed on, used to say, nobody comes to meditation to sit in silence because shit is good. You know, like we're not like, oh, let's just like go sit on a cushion and be quiet. We come because there's some sort of suffering. We want things to be different, that there's some unease. And we all come out in for different reasons, for physical, let's go ahead and start moving. So reach over towards the right. So we're just going to go side to side. Go as slow as you'd like. Inhale on your way up and then to the other side. And we all find ourselves on our mat or on our cushion for different reasons. But they're variations on the same theme of feeling not complete, of feeling not okay. Whether it's on a physical level from injury or an emotional level or a spiritual level. Now whenever you go over to each side, I want you to rotate the rib cage up and open, cactus, open the arm. And then we'll switch sides. Oh my gosh, that feels so good. So reach over, reach the arm all the way out, and then cactus open as you turn. The hand can come all the way down as you come up. That feels delicious. I just made this up. Reach, turn. You can use this bottom hand to help you turn. Cactus the top arm. A couple more times like this. So then we can really honor that painful process or whatever was happening that brought us here. So maybe that injury brought you to the mat, but grateful for that injury to bring us to this practice to get to know ourselves more. And go ahead and release. A little bit of a wiggle. And this is such a powerful way to set the stage for the day. Not only moving, giving our breath some attention, but setting up the day for success and this good perspective and lens. Let's get into the neck just a little bit. So bring the right ear to the right shoulder. Stay here for just a moment. So often the tendency is whenever we turn the head over, the opposite shoulder wants to come up with us. So we're bypassing the stretch here. I want to go ahead and leave both shoulders down as we reach over. Press down through the sit bones, reach up through the spine so you're keeping that length and opening. So you can stay right here if this is enough, or you can walk this hand out, tip toe, tip finger, or you can bring it up in the air. It can be really nice to flex the hand back and push through the heel of the hand. It's intense. Just slow, steady breath. So noticing what we do under stress, and often one of the go-tos is that our body wants to hold the breath. So we can practice repatterning that here. So we're under stress here, some discomfort, and then we repattern to continue the flow of breath, allowing for the opening. Then maybe move that left arm around. Kind of wave it around and see different sensation that you feel. And slowly lift the head up. Let's take the left arm and reach it around, not around, but over, like cross it over the chest. Right back of the right hand can grab the wrist, kind of pull the wrist in. So we're just getting some opening on the outside of the shoulder here. Big deep breath. And release it down. And let's switch sides. So left ear to the left shoulder. Again, watch that we don't just lean the whole torso over. We're just leaning the head. You can think about having lots of space between the right shoulder and the right ear. And then we're closing the space on the other side. You can stay here if this is enough, or you can begin to tiptoe, tip finger the right hand out. Or maybe you take the hand in the air, flex the hand back, push through the base of the wrist, palm of the hand. And maybe tilt the head a bit. And then move the arm. Slow, steady breath. Wave the arm about. And slowly lift the head up. We'll cross the right arm across, attach the back of the left hand and pull in. Get a little opening on the outside of the arm. I tend to be a mover, so I'm swaying and stuff a lot. So that's just kind of up to you. I like that kind of added sensation. And slowly release down. We'll do a couple stretches in the hamstring here. So we'll extend the legs long. We'll go into a forward fold, or Paschimottanasana is a Sanskrit name. You can sit up on a pillow or a bolster. You can also take it underneath the knees. This can be really nice. Flex the toes back. Inhale, push down through your sit bones so you find some length. You can lift the arms up if you'd like as well, or you can just reach forward and fold forward. Remember, this is your first forward fold of the day, most likely. So be gentle. It can also be nice if you have a block to place it under the head, or you can see what I'm doing. I'm just putting fist over fist. So you may feel this in the backs of the legs. You may feel it more in the back. We kind of feel it where we need it. So you can stay static in one place, or you can let the inhales lift you up. You can kind of shimmy the heart forward. You can imagine growing between the ribs and the hips a little bit, and exhale, fold forward. Maybe you do a couple rounds like this. One more big inhale. And exhale, fold. Slowly lift all the way up. Let's remove the bolster if you have it, and we'll take Janu Shirshasana. So left leg will come in. We're going to take kind of a twisted forward fold. So this will get in the low back a little bit, which is where I have some issues. So this is a nice pose for this. So we're going to twist our torso towards the right. The left hand can slide down the outside of the right leg as far as you'd like to go. And then the right hand can kind of go off to the side. You should be able to feel it pulling here a little bit, stretching on the left low back a little bit. Oh, that feels so delicious to me. So the more you can kind of cross body, the more that you'll get in there. But you're not just going towards the right, you're also going forward. So it's a twisted forward fold. You can take head in the hand, you can take head to the block. Feels so delicious. I am grateful for the good hurt. And then maybe you move some with breath, going a little bit deeper each round, moving the heart a little bit more forward and pulled in a little bit deeper. And slowly rise up and we'll switch sides. So right leg coming in, flexing both feet. We're going to twist towards the right. Let the right hand slide down the leg. And fold forward. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, fold. So you can stay static or you can move with breath, whatever feels better. Always pulling the heart center more forward. That's the direction, the energetic direction you're going. And slowly coming up. And let's turn towards center and bring the legs wide. They don't have to go very wide, just a little bit. We'll get into the groin and the hamstring just a little bit. You probably don't need to go that far forward either. We can just slowly come forward, maybe just a little bit. Watch the toes. They want to turn in. We want to keep that external rotation. So we want to keep the toes coming up. Flex the feet maybe. You can point them too, but we don't want them to really be turning in because then that's another way we avoid the stretch. So just slightly coming forward until you feel it. And then maybe you find a bit of a wiggle or a sway. Oof, gosh. My body really needed this morning. I'm like popping and crackling all over. And slowly coming up. And coming back into a seat where we began, and take a moment again to kind of wiggle into any space that you've created. And then we'll find stillness, close the eyes down, hands in the lap or on the thighs. I really invite you to bring up a few things that you're grateful for right here and be specific. Let it be nuanced. And then notice the sensation that it brings in the body to have this awareness, to be focusing on the sweetness. We call it sukha. In yoga, sweetness. Dukkha, funny word, dukkha means suffering. In yoga and Buddhism. Dukkha means suffering. Sukha is sweetness. So savoring the sukha. Letting it resonate in the body, and like we talked about the negativity bias, that how that's really ingrained in our wiring. We learn to savor the sweetness, not just by letting it kind of be a passing thought, but letting it resonate in the body and be like, where do I feel that? Is there any color attached to it? Kind of investigating what it feels like to have this gratitude that allows it to really internalize. We want it to become a pathway. Water flows in the path of the least resistance, so we want to clear out a big pathway. It's easy to find. a clearing of appreciation that we can come up and down more often. So thank you for joining me. Thank yourself for showing up. Appreciation for ourselves is in high demand, in high need, I guess is a better term. So thank yourself for showing up. Bring your hands together, thumbs at the third eye. Let's bow forward to seal our practice and say thank you for this practice. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And to all of the teachers that have brought this practice down for years and years and years and years. And I know we've changed it so many times, but that there is a thread. There is still a thread that we're lucky to get to have a little piece of. So I hope you have a beautiful day. Thank you for joining me. If you want to practice in longer sessions with me, then head to my website or to Om Yoga Tribe. That's the site, Om Yoga Tribe, but you can find it through my website. And I have hour-long classes I put out each month. And you'll get the whole prior library as well if you want to deepen your practice. And then also I have retreats coming up. We had to postpone all of 2020, but we've moved them to 2021. So really excited about getting together and doing this whole thing in person again. That is going to be some sukha. So check those out as well. They're on my website. And I'll see you next time on your mat. Ciao.